Well, hello you bearded bastards, and welcome back once again to another Q&A video, something I haven't done since early on last year. It's just gonna be sort of a chill thing today, I'm thinking. Gonna be answering some questions from Patreon people, a whole variety of things. Gonna be talking fairly quickly too, because this is gonna be a shorter than usual video, about 20 minutes or so I'm planning, but we'll see how I do with that whole thing. Also, in the background, we're gonna have some pictures of cave creatures, ones that I have not had the pleasure of drawing before. They'll just kind of be sailing on back there while I'm talking. I don't often have much to say about the creature design, so it would just kind of end up being like a, ooh, look at this spooky guy, or, oh, I'd hate to meet that thing. So, I figured I would just combine the two, questions and creatures. Excellent. Now then, question the first. What makes your voice sound so lovely, and what kind of microphone do you use, and what's your recording process like? Well, I got no special tricks for how my voice sounds. I guess it was how I was born, I guess. Usually when I'm not recording, I'm actually pretty obnoxious in my real life, like yelling in comedic fashion and doing other stupid stuff like that. So honestly, I've probably ruined my voice by making it a little bit more raspy than it should be. Maybe that's had some effect. I could imagine that being the case, but other than that, not much. For my mic, currently I'm using a Yeti X. I'd upgraded it maybe 6 months ago or something from a Blue Yeti, which is what I was using previously. And I haven't noticed much of a difference. I would say just go with the Blue Yeti. It's probably a lot cheaper now. I mean, if you plan on doing any sort of recording, it's probably the best bet for your dollar. And as for my recording process, I do record most of my dialogue while recording, and then just edit it up afterwards. Believe it or not, a lot of people don't believe it, and I couldn't blame them, but it's not like, I'm not like sitting there and reacting to stuff most of the time. I'm sitting there at my computer playing it, something will happen, and then I'll pause for a second and think about what I want to say, and then say it, So it's not like writing a script, but it's also not like totally off the cuff reacting either. That being said, sometimes I do write scripts, but I really hate doing that. I do it for Splatterface when I do those things, or like certain big episodes, like this last big episode, the last one of The Watchful Eyes that I just did. I had to write that entire thing out. Well, except for the end part. Yeah, I hate script writing, so I don't do it. Seemed to work out pretty well. Next question. So what was your favorite Forgotten Beast? And to make it fair, pick one from each series. Gotta be frank here, I don't have a favorite. I really don't. I enjoy drawing them, but I guess I gotta say, for memorability's sake, I like the Weevil from Monster Killer. It was just like a big weevil, and it would sit in its little jail cell thing all day. That was kind of fun, but other than that, they don't really have character. They're just kind of fun designs. I like drawing them, but I don't really get attached to them. You can't really. Most of the time, they just end up dying pretty quickly. Hell, to be frank, I've forgotten most of the Forgotten Beasts. I've done so many at this point. Next question. I think you've mentioned that it was Patreon funding which allowed you to do this full time. But these days, do you derive any significant income from YouTube? Yeah, it's not bad. It's not terrible, certainly. Not enough to live on. I'd say in this past month, I've made about $600 off of YouTube. Nothing to sneeze at, but it certainly helps. Big time. But it is thanks solely to Patreon that I'm able to do this. Next question. Are you planning or considering to do similar narrative gaming for other games such as RimWorld? Well, it's something I've thought about, certainly. Not RimWorld specifically. It's a neat idea, but, I'm not sure. Something about it. It has a very unique style, I just don't feel like I could get as much from the imaginative side from RimWorld as I do with Dwarf Fortress. Maybe it's because in Dwarf Fortress you have to rely on the written descriptions more than the icon images. But in RimWorld, I feel like most of the time you're focusing on the actual the icon of a creature, whereas in Dwarf Fortress you're reading its description and getting it from that. I just don't think I could do as much with it. I prefer doing things like The Long Night or something, that mod that I play occasionally. That being said, I don't think the Steam release is going to affect my imagination while drawing things. As long as I get those big descriptions, I'm not going to worry too much about what the little icons say. I don't even know if RimWorld does that. Maybe there are descriptions. Other than RimWorld, though, I have thought of other games. Ones not like RimWorld or Dwarf Fortress. There's AI Dungeon. That's one I'd like to have a stab at. I know some pretty zany shit comes out of there. But, see how it goes. Have some sort of a stupid little adventure. Yeah, if you haven't checked that out, do it. It's fun. It's just a text-based adventure game. An AI comes up with all the stuff that happens, so there's plenty of ammo for things to draw. Yeah, that's been an idea on the back burner for quite some time. I think that'd be fun. Next question. What's the most important lesson that I learned from the whole Scorch Fountain saga? Don't let a fortress go on too far. If it feels like it's at an end, that's okay. That is okay. I don't really want to do another fortress quite this long again, even though I'd say it turned out pretty well and I am going to miss it. It was too much. for a lot of people. No, I'm going to be putting some measures in place where that doesn't happen again. And, I think we're going to have some fun. Just experimenting with new formats. I'm going to have fun, I can say that much. How's Bonehead the cat doing? That's my cat. We had adopted her in this past year, 2020, while Scorch Fountain was going still, actually. She's doing great. Best cat ever. I've never been a cat person, but we were like, hey, these local cats, they do great with dogs, which we do have. And we were just like, yeah, sure, let's get a cat. Got a cat? Wonderful. Called her Bonehead. Which I say nonchalantly, but now realizing what a strange name that is. She has like a wishbone on her head, like a wishbone shape. You'd think we'd call her Wishbone, but no, Bonehead. I thought that'd be funny, so... yeah, she's cute as hell. Love her. Next question, where did I learn my amazing pixel art? Self-taught, I guess. Didn't learn it any place, just tooling around. It's okay. I don't think it's great pixel art. I think it's passable, but, thank you for that. Next question, let's talk about the dressed for the job picture I recently posted on Twitter. Yeah, okay, let's talk about that. I posted this bizarre picture on Twitter, dressed for the job you want, where I'm just like sitting at my computer being a slob, wearing these weird clothing bits. Yeah, over this past year, my friend has introduced me to the idea of LARPing, which is not something that's in my wheelhouse at all, like people fighting out in a field with swords. Foam swords. I never really thought much of it, frankly, but, the idea has really grown on me, so I think I'm going to start trying to do some of that, especially with my more toned down and regular human work schedule I'm going to try to take on. It'll be nice to try something new, I'm thinking. Pretty excited for it, but, we'll see what happens. It'll be fun no matter what happens. Yeah, that's why I'm dressed like that. Next question, have I ever had a positive population fortress, i.e. one that exports more dwarves than accepts as migrants? No. Is that a thing? I don't think, you don't really export migrants. You can exile them, but that feels like more of a punishment than anything. No. Usually I just have way more die than, live. Dwarf Fortress is weird. Next question, what upcoming features in Dwarf Fortress am I most excited for? I don't get excited for upcoming features, I really don't. You go onto Reddit or something and you got people talking about all the crazy stuff, the ships and the magic and yada yada yada, and I'll be frank with you, it's so easy to get yourself worked up over these huge features and then they come out and they're less than you thought they would be in most cases. And I don't mean that as a stab to Tarn Adams, who I actually love dearly, or Dwarf Fortress as a whole. I'll always enjoy the game, but it's best to just moderate your expectations a bit. It is one guy making a game, and so yeah, I don't get excited for much. I just take it as it comes for the most part. Next question, one I've heard a lot. Once the new Steam version comes out, do you plan on switching to that, or do you think you'll wait/switch between that and the ASCII version? I'm going to try the Steam version, certainly when it comes out, absolutely. I'm going to make videos with it. Whether or not I stay with it, though, that's going to be the thing. I was pretty pumped out about it when I first heard about it and saw the initial pictures, but then something about seeing the little pictures move around on screen just reminded me an awful lot of one of the tile sets that are out there and have been around for years. And gotta be frank, I don't like the looks of those. I don't like tile sets. Texture packs, I guess I should say, right? I think they're ugly, to be frank. A lot of people would say that about my tile set that I've got, but it's subjective, really. I think my tile set, or just the vanilla ASCII version of Dwarf Fortress, is a lot more readable than the ones with the pictures most of the time. You're not really playing the game zoomed in so you can actually see the images. Most of the time you're pretty zoomed out, so they're just little colored blobs moving around. Whereas if I see a dark colored lowercase g walking around in my fortress, I'm gonna be like, oh, it's a young goose. Either that or a goblin mace man. But if there's no blood or panicking dwarves, then based on context, I know exactly what it is. Anyways, rambling. We'll play it by ear, and I'm trying to keep in mind that whatever I do, there's gonna be complainers. Not looking forward to that. Next question, have I ever met with/spoken with Tarn and Zach? If so, what are they like? No, I have not. I've never met them or talked to them. Maybe one day. We'll see what happens. Next question, would you say there are any particular sources from which I draw inspiration for designs and aesthetics? No, I'm not consciously inspired by anything. No. I'm not ever looking at something and I'm like, oh, I'd like to emulate that. Most of the time when I sit down to actually draw anything, including these pictures you see behind right here on the screen. I sit down and I'm like, it's like assembling pieces, you know, and I do it with like a pencil at first with a sketch. And, you know, I like draw a shape of the body and see how that looks. Put a couple features on there, you know, stick a leg over here, a nose over there. You know, I don't like how that nose looked. I'll, you know, I'll erase it, put it somewhere else. They kind of like work themselves out, I guess. And they just kind of depend on my mood more than anything. The drawings make themselves. I don't really plan to draw anything while I'm actually drawing, which actually leads to a bunch of pleasant surprises while drawing. Sometimes I'll finish a drawing and it'll look much better than anything I could have pictured, but sometimes I am disappointed too. Regardless, it seems to work out. Next question, did my work/life balance improve at all? No, it did not, but you know, I feel better about it because, well, like, I think it was at the end of last August, I kind of freaked out and did that whole every 4th week I was going to take off sort of a thing. So I do like, you know, video, week off. Video, week off. But during every single one of those weeks off, I would work on something video related, which is very stupid. But I've gotten to the point now, like after this last Splatterface and after this, you know, this last series I did, where it's pretty bad. It's gotten really bad. Like there was one week where I worked, not even kidding, 85 hours, which is terribly irresponsible. And, you know, I can't keep doing that. I really have to actually tone it down, or else I'm gonna have some serious problems coming up. So that's why I'm changing my schedule, as I've mentioned a few places before. Those Watermaster videos I did, that's going to be more in line with what I've got in the future. And I'm pretty excited for it. As I said, do some LARPing, do some extra additional pictures from time to time, just for me. That'd be pretty darn fun, I'm thinking. We'll see how it works. Next question, do I smoke weed or perhaps enjoy edibles? No, I don't. I smoked weed once, like probably 10 years ago, and you know, it was alright, I guess. I'm glad I tried it. Certainly nothing against it. If you do it, yeah, go straight for it, I don't care. I drink from time to time. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Next question, I know that doing this has been a strain on you and your relationships. Have you considered going from weekly to maybe every 10-day? With the videos? No, I haven't done that. I've got some stuff in place here. Like I was saying with the Watermaster videos, that's what they're going to be like. I figure, you know, I'm going to work every week like a normal person does, just not work like an asshole, you know? I've got it planned now that I'll work a 50-hour week, which I'd say is reasonable. You know, it's still more than average, but, you know, not insane. I think during Monster Killer, I was working probably a 60-hour week on the videos on top of like a 30 to 35-hour week at my job. But then when I started doing this full time, I just started amping up these videos to the point where I'm working 85 hours a week on, you know, just the videos. And yeah, I can't do that forever, as I've said. So no worries there. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing videos less than once weekly, honestly. And I have not enjoyed that extra week that I've not been putting out a video back when I was doing that whole thing. That kind of bugged me. Anyways, next question. Will you ever share your incredible love of the illustrious Dougal Dixon's art with the world? If so, what is your favorite masterpiece of his? Dougal Dixon is, of course, an artist who, well, he created a series called Man After Man, and it was a book. And a lot of his drawings are incredibly ghastly things. Go ahead and give him a goog. Like, they're terrible, uncanny things that will give you nightmares, but I gotta say, I do find a lot of inspiration in this guy's artwork, to be perfectly frank. I like a piece of art that makes you feel something, and I'm definitely filled with revulsion upon seeing any of his pieces. Which I love, you know? Next question, we have, are you going to make your series world save files available after the series is done? Talking about Orodashi and Scorch Fountain and all that. Maybe upload it to your website so that people can explore the worlds and fortresses. No, I'm not going to do that. I did it for Steel Clutches back in the day, but, you know, I'm fine with not doing it. Like, even back then, you know, I had people picking apart the world and stuff, and that was a tiny world with, you know, not a lot going on in it. I could just imagine now, you know, people would pile into Orodashi and start picking it apart and wonder why I didn't show this and why I chose to do that and why I hid this little aspect over here or something like that. And I realize it probably wouldn't be that big of a deal if I did do it, but why risk it? What if it was a big pain in my ass? Not something I want to deal with. Sorry, you're not missing much. It's just a typical Dwarf Fortress world when you get down to it, you know? Anyways, we actually have the last question here. What irritates you the most in Dwarf Fortress? On the contrary, what makes you say, I love this game? Well, what irritates me the most? Well, I'd like to be, one of those people who's just like, oh, nothing about this glorious game could irritate me. But, you get frustrated when you're doing certain things and the dwarves aren't cooperating, or, say you send out a military worth of, 40 dwarves and they just don't come back, or they just disappear or something like that. Could be a little frustrating. Also, that's definitely something that's happened to me before. Yeah, pretty unpleasant when stuff like that happens. The game's got bugs. It has some serious bugs, and they can be very frustrating. It's one of those things where like the game already does so much and I enjoy it immensely, so I'm not gonna rip apart any aspect of it too harshly. I have a deep understanding and appreciation for what the game can do, but also an understanding of its limitations. There's too many people out there looking at this thing like it's supposed to be a fully fleshed out Dungeons and Dragons simulator that can do everything, and that's just not what it is. It's a 16-year-old project that's been worked on by a single man who has limited programming abilities, from what I understand. It's a labor of love, and that I can get behind. And what the game can't do, I can use that. You see a weird bug? Use it. It just helps feed your imagination. Use it to fuel that. And I say that I'll actually make a nice segue into what I love about this game, is that, yes, it's an unlimited amount of fuel for your imagination. Unlimited, it's great. Not only like the crazy creatures like you see behind you right here, but also the connections between those creatures and the world out there, It's great just like picturing how everything in these wacky worlds interact. Love it. Big time. But yeah, looks to be all the questions I have there. I will say, I haven't directed anybody towards my Patreon since the end of Honeystoker, which was, mid-2019 or something. But if you want to help support me and Mrs. K and these videos, I do have a Patreon. You can find it in the description below, and if you support me, even with $1 one time, you can jump on my Discord, where I try to be highly active. I voice chat with you guys, do a little face cam action. Actually, I was going to set up a face cam for this video, but I completely forgot, so sorry, but you got to see that gross picture of me with that clothing on. Anyways, yeah, Patreon. But even besides that, I do appreciate you for watching. And something else I'd like to hit on is actually the fact that while doing this whole Scorch Fountain thing this past year, I hit 100,000 subscribers. Isn't that wacky? 100,000 subscribers from making Dwarf Fortress content on YouTube. Who could have thought something like that's possible? It's insane. I do appreciate you guys. I mean, I was going to say I don't say it enough, but I couldn't say it enough, really. I appreciate you. Just your enthusiasm, it gets me going. Even like when I'm doing Splatterface and the complainers come out of the woodwork. Love you guys. I love that passion. Even though it drives me insane. I love you. With my slight toning down of videos now, I'm hoping to be more active overall down like the comments below the videos. I know that I think that like halfway through Honeystoker, I stopped responding to like every single comment down there. And these days I haven't been responding all that much to anybody, which sucks. I don't like that. I get that it's impossible to respond to every single person, but I want to at least try somewhat. I know that I'm not going to, but just some more of it. It sucks. It actually really sucks when you have so many people who enjoy what you do and you can't interact with them all, I never want to be the person that sees just a number of subscribers and take that for granted. I know that each and every one of those numbers is a human being just like myself, and it's a damn shame that I can't get to know each and every one of you, which I know sounds corny as shit, but like, it's the truth. Yeah. So, I guess that's gonna wrap up this video, huh? I hope you enjoyed it. Found a little insight into the Krug experience. Saw some crazy creatures back there. I thank you for watching. And I hope you're excited for the future. I certainly am. Gonna do some crazy crap. A little bit of experimenting to come, I believe. It's gonna be fun. And, anyways, my bearded bastards. Once again, I thank you for watching, and I certainly hope to see you next time here with Dwarf Fortress. And until then, my bearded bastards.